Hi everyone, good morning. I hope y'all are doing great today. We've jumped over here to the town park for our walk this morning. We've got a beautiful day in western New York. Little hazy, overcast, but doesn't feel as humid as it has been. It's been pretty brutal here lately. All of you that live in these areas of humidity, you know what I'm talking about. I spent some time over at Dalen's house. We cleaned her garage.
What? That's a lot.
Well, but we're going for the A-level broom, which isn't going to be cheap. And the hose.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have different levels of hoses.
Yeah.
The cheap ones are really hard to wind up. They kink up.
Grandma got me one. I had to throw it out after like the first use.
I had one over at my house that was, it was like 100 feet long. It was super long, but it was like the bottom level. I used to cuss that thing. Like I'd go to roll it and it would just kink, you know, it would fold instead of roll.
Yeah. I
used to get so mad at it.
Oh no, a lost dog.
Oh, could you imagine?
No. I dropped her leash this morning when I was walking her on accident and Fritz grabbed it. I thought she was going to run away.
You should see if you can get her to hold on to the leash while you guys are walking and get video of it. She's grabbing it like as a toy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it did save me a few seconds to grab it.
Sweet. Okay, today is a big day. I'm doing some standard dad stuff today. We're cleaning out Dalen's garage. It's in need of a good spring clean. So we just went over to Lowe's. Lowe's had a little bit of a problem cashing us out. It took 2 employees, 2 different checkout things to get us checked out.
They figured it out.
They figured it out. But we got a garage broom.
Yep. A hose.
A new hose. Yep, garden hose.
A hose. What's it called?
A reel.
Yeah.
A hose hanger.
A hose
you know,
hanger.
a real thing for the wall.
And a nozzle.
And a sprayer nozzle. Yep. Got her the Cadillac sprayer nozzle too. No.
You got another dog? I said, no, it's my dad's dog. What kind of dog is it? I said, a pit bull. She goes, oh.
He's an American Staffordshire Terrier.
Yeah, I know, but...
Come on, puppy. Lefty's wearing his hot weather lightweight harness. Come on, let's go. You gotta tell him what to do. He'll take you all over the place. That's my puppy. Yeah, here we go. You all are seeing the inner sanctum here. So you guys remember her hot rod e-bike? All right, let's get to work. Okay. So here's her new broom. Officially the first garage broom you've ever owned in your life?
Yes.
Yeah, just real quick. Yeah, just from the top right down.
Oh!
Because there are cobwebs up there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah!
You all right?
You see it?
What is it?
The spider right there.
Oh, there's swiping. This way. Come here.
it up.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
See? Dads are awesome.
Yes.
I'll show you how you do it. So first off, let's just get the bulk of this. You're gonna hold your breath, huh? See, when you got the good rubber lip, you see, and you go backwards as you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know the backwards.
Yes.
That really helps.
Yeah. How do these go together? So I see some of these have threads, and these don't.
I don't know, I put those in like 2 years ago.
Of course, I'm upside down. Wow, nice. That's what's up. There.
We don't need this.
Still don't know what this one's for. And it's in a special color pack.
Right, but it doesn't say anything in the in this.
Hopefully it shows just throwing it in the trash like the other pieces.
So the bike go right there in front of the.
Tons of room now.
It is very long.
Yeah.
The seat itself.
Yeah. That's more like a motorcycle than a bicycle. Okay, so tomorrow I'll come over and put this stuff out at the curb.
I can do it.
Well, you let me know if you want me to come over and do it, sugar. Okay, everyone, I'm gonna go home and get in the shower. Say bye to everybody.
Bye, thanks, Dad.
We'll see you. Everyone take care, be safe. Everyone take care.
Take care.
Be safe. And we'll see y'all again really soon.
Really soon.
Professionals. And man, I probably lost a gallon of moisture just from all the sweating. It was pretty brutal. That was on Sunday morning. But I was glad to go over there and help her. Really glad. Back at my house, my garage was like an extension of my house. And I keep telling her, so you should be able to, like, in a situation, emergency situation, like you got to go grab something out of the garage, you should be able to go out there in your sock feet and not worry about ruining your socks. That's the goal, I told her, with her garage. So I think we got there. Went and got her a brand new broom. So she's got her own garage broom. So all these little adult things, right? I don't know. Maybe the garage doesn't mean as much to her as it does to me. But I want her to have a nice, clean garage to pull her car into when she gets out of work. So that's the goal, plus being able to walk out there in her socks. Got the grass cutter man down there. Got this guy. He's wearing his warm weather harness. That's one that was sent to us, and it's the same rough wear brand as the one he has, but this one is a different model, and it doesn't have like all the thick padding and all that like his other one does. So when it's hot out, I put that one on him. It's like his bikini, you know. So as we're getting ready to pack up and hit the road, you know, I'm going through all the things in my mind that I need to finish up. And it's made me think about, you know, in years past, the different things that happen and go on in my mind when we are getting ready to go back out on the road. And it especially takes me back to when we first started traveling. And because like right now, I have no concerns. I actually was feeling like this morning, I'm making a little list of the last little things I gotta do. And I felt like I was like cheating or something, like I was missing something, because I don't really have a lot of stuff to do, and I don't really have a lot of concerns on my mind, and I felt like like I was you know, like not doing something I should be doing. And that's what got me thinking about past years, and then especially when we first started traveling, and how much different I'm feeling right now 5 years later than I felt the first time we headed out on the road in our rig. Okay, buddy. Dalen and I went to the dog park with the dogs Sunday afternoon, and Lefty, just like he's doing now, Dalen said he's trying to drink the whole creek. So while this is all fresh in my mind as I'm thinking about what it was like 5 years ago, I'm gonna talk about what some of the challenges we had, some of the things that we had to work through when we first started traveling. And you know, my goal has always been to help other people that are thinking about doing this. I get a lot of messages from folks asking me specifics, and there's an underlying kind of common theme that I pick up on in a lot of the messages that I get. And I tell people in my replies to them, I'll give them the info they're looking for, and then I throw in the suggestion of, you know, don't overthink it, because you can really start causing yourself a lot more mental anguish than is really necessary. I suggest to them, you know, pick like the top 3 things that need to be taken care of immediately and take care of them. Don't try to think of every single thing that needs to be done, or everything that you've seen in a video or read online that needs to be taken care of before you start traveling, because you know, that could be a non-ending list. You could just never get to the end of it. And I should know, because I did a good amount of that back when we started traveling. And in hindsight, it was not necessary. It really was not necessary. Recently, someone contacted me asking, they were asking about our mail service that we use when we're down in the Quartzsite area. So I gave them that info and some options, some other places that are down there that do the same type of service. And that was another example, because I get those messages a lot, and I understand exactly where those folks are coming from, because I was in that same position 5 years ago. And it's great to try to do as much setup kind of work as you can before you start traveling. Just don't let that overtake you, because setting up your mail service down there is a 10-minute proposition when you're there. You know, it really doesn't need to be done beforehand. You know, everyone is different, and some folks will have their comfort from, hey, oh goodness, I'm one-handed. You know, some folks need to get all that stuff straightened out beforehand, and that's cool. Just, you don't have to, you know. If you have other priorities that are more pressing, work on things that are more pressing before you worry about how you're going to get mail. And that's a topic that comes up a lot, but it's part of a broader group of things. How do you get mail? Where do you get water? How do you know where to get rid of your garbage? You know, all of those little details that if you let yourself worry about them, they can be worrisome. But they don't need to be. You know, when we pull into a new area to camp, and when it's time to have to go dump garbage, I just search for, I do a Google for transfer station near me, and we find where to get rid of the garbage. A great way also is to ask people in town, the people that are from that area, and you can usually get a really good detailed answer. Same for where to get water. There was one town we were at, and I was at a water fill, and I didn't like that type of water fill. I wanted more like bulk water, and there was a guy standing there, and he was filling a water jug, and I asked him, I said, hey, is there anywhere around here you know of that's more like bulk water, like agriculture? And he said, oh yeah, if you go over, you know, boom, boom, boom. He gave me the directions and the name of the place, which was like 3 miles from where we were standing, and that had a water fill. And I never could quite figure that one out, but I think for $1 you got like 30 gallons. It was an immense amount of water for a very, very low cost, and it was set up for, you know, people that have the large water cubes for their farms and such. They pull up with one of those on their trailer and fill it. So we started getting our water from there. But that's a good example of just being able to find that stuff out pretty easily, and it's just not worth getting stressed out over. You know, garbage, same thing. Actually, in one town, we knew where we found the transfer station, but it was a drive to get there. You had to wind your way up this mountain, and so we did it a couple of times. We dumped garbage up there, and then I was in town, and I asked this girl that was at the grocery store, the cashier, and I said, hey, I'm camped in the area, and I've been driving up to the I called it the dump. You know, it was like a transfer station, they called it. I said, I've been driving up there to dump our garbage. Is there anywhere closer or easier for me? And she said, oh yes, right down. And she told me, and it was like a mile from where we were. It was so convenient. It was super simple, and I didn't have to drive like the 3-mile climb up the mountain to go to the garbage dump. So another, you know, I found the original garbage dump just by doing a Google search, and then I asked a young lady in town, and she gave me the way better place to get rid of my garbage. So that was an easy one. And I always say that the best way to find out information like that is from other campers. So if you're in an area and, you know, there's people in an RV, ask them, say, hey, where are you dumping your garbage? Where are you getting your water? Those kind of questions. And many times you'll get the exact answer you need. And then you can be the one sharing that information to someone else down the road when they ask you, where can I get my water? Where can I dump my garbage? And that's a great feeling, actually. It's a good point. When you're able to help someone, and I've many times, people come up and you can see it in their face and in their eyes. They're kind of frazzled, you know, I'm trying to find out where I can dump my garbage. And when I can say to them, oh, right up here a mile, turn right, and it's right there, and it's free, they, you know, they're very appreciative. And I understand, you know, you can get yourself wound up or stuck in a jam if you don't know the area that you're in and you don't know where to get things or where to get rid of things. And asking another camper is a lot of times an easy way to get the info. And then you can pay that forward later on when someone asks you and you're the expert. And that's a great feeling to help people. Yeah, there's some kind of structure right there. Bigfoot structure. What do you think, buddy? We got Sasquatch? Who believes in Bigfoot? Raise your hands down in the comments. I do. The other, one of the other challenges we faced back when we started was really the condition of our rig and how it was set up. You know, I look back, I see some of our old videos, and when I get a glimpse of the inside of the rig, it is not even recognizable as the same vehicle as we are now. And I don't just mean like cosmetically, I mean like functionally. Cosmetically too, but functionally. We left town for the first time with a Coleman 2-burner propane stove, 5-gallon jug of water, a 12-volt refrigerator. We had the TV. We didn't have a heater, we didn't have the air conditioner, we didn't have the microwave, we didn't have the air fryer, we didn't have the sink, we didn't have the water supply, we didn't have a freezer, we didn't have anywhere near the electrical power that we have now. And you all know, those of you that have been along with us for a long time, you know that it has taken us years really to add all of this stuff. Most recently last summer when we added the new battery system. When we were first on the road, I quickly found out what some of our weaknesses were as far as just basic comfort. You know, quickly found out we needed a heater. You know, I had this idea that we were gonna travel around in the Southwest US and that it never got cold and we wouldn't need a heater. Well, we figured that out pretty quickly. But it's such a difference between what we had back then and what we have now. And the way that we figured all that out was living in the rig. I always recommend to people, and you've heard me say it before, take some test runs in your vehicle before you head out permanently. You know, take a 3-week camp trip, live in the rig, see what you're lacking. Maybe you added something that you just don't need. You know, we did that a lot. We've removed stuff just as much as we've added stuff over the years. We've added more than we've removed, to be honest with you, but not everything sticks. You know, not everything goes as planned, and not everything is needed. So, and the only way to really figure that all out is to go out there and live. I don't know if you can see the sweat rolling off of me. It's not hot, but puffing along with him, I get a little frothy. Take a break here and head back to the house. We've got a couple of small things to do on the rig today. Oh, speaking of, yes, the rig is back. I don't know that I've talked about it. We picked it up from Harry the other evening. And it's great. The brakes, I never realized how weak the brakes were. Now they still worked, don't get me wrong. He said that one caliper, that one rear caliper, was not functional at all. But you know, the truck stopped. It didn't have any pulsing or anything like that. But compared to what they're like now, they're tremendously stronger. So I gotta change my driving style a little bit, because I was always, you know, doing the long slowdown before we came, to a stop. You know, trying not to put excessive pressure on the brakes. Well, I don't need to do that anymore. They work really well. He's just trying to go down in these ditch creeks here, and I don't want him to. Oh, this guy's dog is a spazzer. Stay right here. Stay right here. Okay. Stay right here. Stay right here. Yeah, I've got a couple of small things to do. I'm going to be adding some more of that metallic surround that I have around the oven. I'm going to put it all the way up the wall to the ceiling behind the microwave. I stopped before. I don't know what my reason was, but I found I had some leftover pieces of that over at Dalen's house, so I've got that. I actually had like 6 or 8 tiles of it, you know, full square, so I've got plenty enough to run it up to the ceiling. I'm going to do that, and we've got to do the oil change. I've just been waiting for the weather kind of back off a little bit. Yesterday they actually said it was supposed to hit 90 today, and I don't know, without the sun I don't know that we're going to hit that. Doesn't feel quite as hot as it was the last couple of days, but they said it's supposed to hit 90 today. Oh, look at this giant America flag. There you go. I know you love America, buddy. Favorite place to romp. Oh boy. All right, well, I'm gonna two-hand him back to the car, and we'll pick this conversation up back at the house. It's time to get out here and do an oil change before it gets too hot. So Lefty's just checking over the work area, make sure I have all the tools and supplies that I need. So I've got my things to lay on. 4 gallons of Rotella T4 15W40, a Wix 51734 filter, oil filter wrench, 3/4 inch wrench, rubber gloves, some engine degreaser to wipe things off, rags. That's my bag trick for pulling the oil filter off, and there's a work light if it's too dark under there. I don't know, it doesn't look too bad as far as light, but I've got a light now, so I'm going to use it whenever I can. Lefty just reminded me I forgot something, so I forgot the screwdriver and the hammer for punching a hole in the old oil filter, and I didn't have my drain pan out here, so now we're good to go. Got everything we need. Oh, we got a delivery coming. What are you doing? Oh my goodness. Something show up? Left. Hey, hey. I think he's excited for it. Okay, buddy. Okay. Okay, so the oil's drained, filter's off. Now we got to pre-fill the new filter, and y'all make sure you do that. You don't want to hear one of these 7.3s fire up after an oil change with a dry filter. It'll make a heck of a racket, and it's really bad on the motor. So make sure you pre-fill your oil filter. I can't stress that enough. I ended up not needing the shop light. Kind of disappointed. I wanted to use it. Alright, so what I usually do, I leave it in its box. That helps it to stand up. Little funnel action. If you're a good pourer and you can Bluetooth it right in, you don't need the funnel. In fact, I'm going to do that because these have a pretty good size opening, and you should be able to Bluetooth it right in there without a funnel. Look at that. So you fill it till it comes up to the top. Then you stop. It sucks it down. You know, it has to fill all the air bubbles and everything. So don't just fill it to the top and think it's done. You gotta sit and wait. See, I just had it to the top and it's already gone down like 3 inches because it's filling all the filter element. And once you fill it to the top and it doesn't go back down, then you're full. See, they take quite a bit of oil. At least 1.5 quarts goes into these filters. Yep, that took a little over 1.5 quarts. Then get some of the clean oil on your finger. Go around the seal and get it nice and oiled up. That's a mandatory step. I want to get up under there and clean off the mating surface. All right, there we go. Wow, this is full. That tells me I was not low on oil, which is good, because I had been watching my oil level on our travels. And you know, this is a 22-year-old engine. Might not surprise you to learn that it does consume some oil. Not a lot, but it does consume oil. We are done underneath. I think what we're going to do now is pop in the new air filters. You remember I've got the Motorcraft air filters. And then after the air filters, we'll start the engine, run it, then we'll let it settle and come out and check the dipstick and see if we need to top it off at all. I think we should be right about perfect based on what I put in. While I'm doing this maintenance stuff, this reminds me of another thing that wore on me when we first started on the road. And that was that I was really unfamiliar with my diesel rig here. I was not a diesel owner in the past, and having, you know, you probably don't even need to take that off, do you? Well, I already loosened it. But you might be able to get away with leaving that hose clamp attached. Yeah, these filters are, I think they're CarQuest house brand. Oh, definitely catching some stuff. You know, we do a lot of sandy area driving, so they're working. Some little dead bugs and such down in there. Yeah, when we were first on the road, I didn't know a lot about this truck from a maintenance standpoint, and that wore on me, feeling like I wasn't in control. And, you know, how did I solve that? I became familiar as best I could with the truck here. You know, originally I knew nothing about this engine, and now today I can pretty confidently explain everything that's going on under here and even help people with repairs. Ah, you know what? Those aren't different. I must have been thinking about a different brand. Interesting. Those are the same height. Look at that. Sorry, Tom. And look at that. Made in USA. Thank you. Stick with the Motorcraft. You know, and being familiar with what's going on under the hood mechanically, it gives you a confidence. And I'm not saying I can fix everything that might go wrong with this engine, but I can definitely fix some of the things that might happen. You know, I had the turbo off of this thing and all the intake, and I'm replacing gaskets and hoses, and then Robert and I did the radiator. Now, in a vehicle like this, a radiator's a radiator. You know, changing a radiator and a couple of hoses, it's pretty much the same across all vehicles. The parts just might be shaped differently, but as far as the method and how you do it, pretty much identical. But, you know, as time went on, after a couple of years and me deciding that I needed to get under the hood and become familiar with this thing, I'm really glad that I did that, because that made all the difference in how I feel about driving this thing. I used to be a little bit on edge, you know, not knowing anything about what was going on under the hood. And that's long behind me now. All right. Long behind me. And if I could give a piece of advice to folks, get comfortable. And the way that I know how to get comfortable is get your hands and your eyes on what's going on the vehicle. That's the best way to learn and figure it out. And I know the mechanical isn't everyone's cup of tea, but as best you can, educate yourself on what's happening under the hood. You know, I carry a couple of spare sensors. You know, learning that these engines, many times if something suddenly goes haywire, it's a sensor. And I would dare to say that most anybody can get in there and thread a sensor out and thread a new one in. So learning about your specific engine and maybe the little quirks and the known issues that it might have, so you can maybe carry some spare parts and head off a catastrophe. So I carry some spare things. You know, doing regular maintenance items like we just did today, I encourage everyone to do their own oil changes, air filter changes, fuel filter changes. They're not difficult jobs, and if you're mechanically inclined even a little, you should be able to get in there and do it. You know, sometimes you do it the first time with someone else over your shoulder, or they show you it, and then after that you're on your own. And there's a lot to be had and gained from doing it yourself. It's a confidence booster. For me, it was a huge confidence booster. You know, I've done mechanical stuff on all different vehicles through my life, so I'm not afraid to do the mechanical stuff. But man, I was intimidated by this engine when I got this thing. I was definitely intimidated, and it was like a great unknown. And I'm so happy now today that it's not an unknown anymore. You know, if this engine had a catastrophic failure, like an internal failure, piston, dropped injector, something like that, you know, that's a whole different story. But for a lot of different normal things that might go wrong on this engine, they're solvable, and I feel like I could solve them if I was in a situation where I needed to. Catastrophic, that's a different story, but for minor quirks that this engine has, I can get up under here and fix a lot of stuff. You know, there were times when we were first on the road and, you know, not knowing how to really do any fixes on this thing, and we're driving through areas that are pretty desolate, and I had moments where I was uncomfortable, thinking, you know, like the what if in my mind. and that really doesn't happen anymore. I've learned to trust the rig because I've been over it, like from front to back, top to bottom. I know that things aren't going to fall apart. I trust it now. I know I can fix some things if they happen. I know some people that I can get answers from if I can't figure it out. So I'm happy that today I don't get intimidated by this thing like I did in the beginning. So if you're just thinking about going out on the road, do everything you can to learn your rig, ideally before you head out on the road. It will really help your peace of mind. It really would have helped me if I had known more about this thing before we started traveling in it. It really would have helped. And I say all this because I really don't want anybody to have those feelings like I had early on, you know, fear kind of things, because there's enough other unknowns that are happening when you're first on the road, and you don't need to be worrying about your vehicle because you got some other things that can take up your thoughts. A lot of stuff going on when you first hit the road. You don't want to be worrying about your rig. There was something else that happened to me years back. There was and I don't know that this is unique to, you know, being out in the rig. I think it amplified it a little bit. But those of us, you know, we're not young people anymore. We're getting older. When we started on the road, I'm like 54, 55. Now I'm 59. I'm going to be 60 here in a few months. So a few years ago, I think it was just starting to hit me where I was starting to feel older, you know. I've always physically been okay with everything that I do, and I was starting to have some, you know, creaks and moans and aches and pain kind of stuff. And right about that same time, several people that I knew and knew of passed away in a very short period of time. And that really, you know, that hit me. And again, I'm out in places where there's nobody around, and I hear, oh, so-and-so just passed away. And I'm out there all by myself with Lefty, and so that kind of hit me, you know, and that's when I decided to go and get a physical and the cardiologist and all those things that I did, so that now today I'm all good, right? I'm checked out. They gave me the green check mark. As a matter of fact, let me give you an update. You remember when I came back here, I was having trouble with my gut area, and the doctor put me on that Prilosec. Well, when I went back to follow up with him 3 or 4 weeks later, and I told him, you know, I feel like it made me feel a lot better, like normal again. And he said, I don't really want to have you taking that for a long time. And a lot of you had commented about that too, that that's a pretty, you know, it's not just like an antacid, it's more than that. It's a pretty strong drug. So he said, let's try stopping taking it and see how you feel. And he wrote me a second prescription for, can't remember the name, but a lesser, more of an antacid, one that you can get prescription or over the counter, and I can't think of the name of it. You would all know it if I said it. He said if you stop the Prilosec and you feel like you need something, try taking this other one, which was, you know, less of an intrusive drug. Well, so I stopped taking the Prilosec, and I felt fine. And here we are. It's probably been 8 weeks since then, and I feel fine. I'm not having any kind of strange feelings. You know, I told you all, I decreased my meal size, definitely, and I'm still on smaller meal size. I don't eat just once a day. I eat twice a day now, 2 meals, smaller meals. And I can eat anything. Nothing affects me negatively. I don't have any like gallbladder type problems. So I feel great, you know, emotionally and physically, that I I feel like I put that behind me by changing meal sizes, drinking a lot of water, and not lying down after I eat. That's another thing that I changed. I realized that, you know, I used to kind of eat as a bedtime pill, you know, like I would eat and lie down to go to sleep because, you know, full stomach helps you lie down and sleep. So I was always having like a cup of noodles or some beef stick and crackers right before bed. And then many days, if we were in the rig, I would eat my big meal at 1 or 2 p.m. and lay out in the zero gravity chair, you know, and watch a movie or whatever. And I did that, I'm sure, way too much because that's not a good thing. So I definitely don't do that anymore. At night when we have dinner, I never lie down. It's at least 2 hours before I lay down after I last eat. And so I think all of those things combined, I think I've got that licked. Brings me to another point. What do you do for health care? I would really recommend, if you're gonna hit the road, you know, and you have a primary care doctor where you live, make it a part of your plans to annually, you know, if they want you back for annual physicals or every 2 years, make that a part of your plan and your travel so that you go back, set up all your appointments for the different doctors so that you can swing into town, see everyone that needs to be seen, and, you know, to at least keep your mind at ease that you're not having some physical problems. Because that, from my own experience, that can really wear on you, at least me. And really all of this stuff that I'm talking about is just me. Everybody's different. You know, I have my own little idiosyncrasies and my own kind of, the way I'm wired, as I call it, you know. And you're different, and you're different, and you're different. Everybody's different. But I think that a lot of what I talk about would be pretty common for people to feel the same way as me. Fear of health when you're out by yourself. Discomfort in your rig because you don't have it, you know, configured the right way. Fear of death. Who doesn't fear dying? You know, I took kind of a dark turn here, but I'm talking about things that have affected me like in a challenging way since we've been traveling. And these are things that really have stuck in my mind over the years. You know, the mechanical shape of the rig and being comfortable with that, making the rig comfortable so that at least when we're camped out that I'm not hating it, you know, that I'm actually comfortable, and that I can keep Lefty comfortable, and that I can feed us and keep us warm and keep us cool and keep us watered, all of those things. And when all those things get taken care of and kind of all your ducks are in a row, you can let go of a lot of stresses that come along with traveling and living in a vehicle. You know, and this is what I've learned in the 5 years that we've been on the road. I'm sure if I looked at the camera right now that this video is really long and I've been rambling a bit. But this all came to me as I was, you know, starting to get ready to pack up and leave town here. I started thinking about, why do I feel like I'm forgetting something, you know? And the fact is, I'm not forgetting something. I just don't have a lot of stuff to do. You know, we've done so much maintenance on the rig over the last couple of years, few years, that the list is pretty short now. We got all new tires, all new brakes, all new suspension. I think you know, there's a couple things. They're not immediate necessities, but a couple of things. And Harry brought it up. I need a new steering box. My steering box is loose. A lot of you can relate to that, I'm sure. So I'm not. It's not like I have a big giant list of things that need to be done, and I'm just not going to do them. I said I don't have that list anymore. Thankfully, I don't. So I'm going to close this off here. I've been talking long enough. Thank you all for being here with us. Everybody, take care, be safe. We'll see you again really soon. And I've got a funny video coming up here soon that Dalen and I did, so watch for that coming up. A lot of fun. A little bit different. A lot of fun.